Hi everybody, my name is Eric Addish, and it looks like I'm going to be your substitute Wednesday host, which I'm so chuffed to say. In this video, I'm going to be going through a basic introduction to tell you a little bit about myself, about my new year, and also to give you a background into like my path, my practice, and where I'm coming at from my pagan perspective. Now, when I typically meet people, I don't typically like to give them a moniker that I identify by. I would rather normally describe myself by what I do. So I would tell people, I'm a wand maker, or I'm a tarot card reader, or, I do Reiki healing. I would use these kind of descriptions of what I do, to put together a basic understanding of what my practice sort of looks like on a day-to-day basis. In a situation like this, though, that's not really as practical, so I'm going to give you the sort of moniker that I prefer to use, which is pop culture magician. And essentially what that means, for those who may not know, is that I use whatever is popular to me at the time. So that might be anything from a traditional text such as the Key of Solomon, which is where I do a lot of my professional work in, or it might be something sort of off-book like summoning a comic book character as a god form. So I let my practice have a lot of variation depending on what mood I'm in and what I need. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, isn't that just chaos magic? But I would say that the main thing that sort of differentiates pop culture magic from chaos magic theory is that chaos magic theory often has to do with a shifting of belief and paradigm shifting, where that's not necessarily a part of pop culture magic. A pop culture magician might stay in one paradigm for the entirety of their practice. So it's not necessarily within that realm of chaos magic. Now, my practice is also influenced by the kind of communities that I'm spending time in. I have a little bit of involvement with my local witchcraft communities, my local psychic fair circuit, my local voodoo communities, so I try to be involved with magic users of many different spectrums to sort of broaden my experience and broaden my understanding. So I do often have my hands in a lot of different pots, and I'm often sort of teaching and learning in a lot of different spaces as well. So for me, like, being able to use whatever sort of comes up for that day is really helpful and beneficial, though it can be hard to balance these different systems and religions when you're a kind of wayward house for various spirits. So I, definitely think that pinpointing or describing my practice can be kind of difficult, which is, like I say, why I typically prefer to tell people what I do rather than what I am. So yeah, so that's a little bit about my practice and my path. If you want to know more about me and my personal intricacies, I'll leave a link to my personal channel in the description box below as well. If you can believe it, we're almost at Lunasa here in Australia, which will be February 2nd, in bulk, I think, in the Northern Hemisphere. So, we're almost through the first month of the year, almost through January already, which is insane to me. It's been such a busy start to the year. I've really hit this one running, which has been exhausting, but also, like, so much rewards have come from the effort and work that I've been putting in just this short period of time. When that Gregorian calendar does tick over, though, and at midnight on New Year's Eve, I typically like to shuffle my deck and draw a tarot card to sort of give me an indication for the year going and like a talisman or a guardian for that year. So for a lot of people, you've got Samhain as sort of the witch's new year, and I guess that kind of makes sense in the Northern Hemisphere because it falls sort of at the end of October and leading up to Yule and then the end of the Gregorian calendar. So I can see why that would be, useful to mark that ending part of the year. But here in Australia, it falls sort of May 1st, May Eve, so it's a little bit of a different energy, we don't have that, like, traditional Halloween stuff going on around us or anything like that. So I'd say that the experience is probably really different here. But using that sort of middle of the year time is really great for me because I can take out my sort of paper planning, which is where it's at for goal keeping for me, is definitely writing things down and setting down a plan. So for me, like, having that as my sort of review time, that Samhain-y sort of time period near the middle of the year, it's a great time to sort of check in and see if anything needs to be scrapped or anything needs to be updated or changed, or, you know, whatever it is that's going on with my goals, and see how I'm progressing for the rest of that year. Samhain for me is also a really sort of nostalgic time. In 2009, after I did my year in a day study with a local eclectic coven, I had my initiation on Samhain. So for me, Samhain is sort of this really special time. It's an anniversary of my dedication to the practice. It's my dedication to the spirits that I have agreements with. So it's a really nice time to sort of reflect on my growth, look at how I'm growing as a magical practitioner, and sort of see what I want to do in terms of magical goals for the rest of that year as well. Doing this video has been an absolute pleasure, and I'm so glad to be part of the collab and, you know, be able to speak to you guys and put my thoughts forward. And it's really exciting, you know, for me to be able to do this and answer questions, and I'm absolutely riveted. So I hope that you guys are well. I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and until I speak to you soon, goodbye. Mwah.